Tepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Harun Nefer. This is Qesankh with another video for you. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how the infamous Dr. Umar Johnson is going to lose his schools, the FDMG. But before I get into that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe button with notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. Now, if you want to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you. There's no obligation, and you can cancel at any time. As a supporter, you'll get unlimited access to our instructional videos, our articles, and so much more. Right now, we're doing a video series on ancestral trauma. We also have really deep dive articles on the occult spiritualism, videos on how to breathe, proper breathing exercises, how to contact the ancestors, how to do astral travel, how to create your own amulet, how to do a proper ritual, and so much more. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. All right, so let's talk about Mr. Umar Johnson. And I won't call him Dr. Umar Johnson because I don't feel he deserves that title. And as I've been saying in my previous videos, that this man is a con artist, and he's fooled the black community into donating to him and his cause in the tune of $1.6 million. I want you to really let that sink in. You know, here's a man that went around and did these lectures to talk about how he wanted to build this school, this boarding school for black boys only. And he was asking for donations. He didn't have a business plan. He didn't have a schedule. He didn't have project managers. He didn't have contractors. This man had literally nothing but the gift of gab. So he went around to these lectures and talked his way into receiving $1.6 million. And in even some of the lectures, when people said they paid him to lecture in their state, he never showed up. So he would basically take the money and run, you know. So you were out that money you paid for this man to fly down there and do your lecture. One of the people who this happened to was a gentleman by the name of King Randall, and he paid Umar, I don't know how much, but over the lot, to appear at his school, because King Randall had a school, and to lecture to the black boys, and Umar never showed up. And this is, this is what he is known for. But I did something a little bit different in my videos. Instead of talking about how this man was a grifter, I really held the black community accountable for this. Because I said, you allowed this man to come into our community and get these donations from poor, impoverished people, most often single black women with children. And this man had not even a website for his school, which he called FDMG. And he bought this dilapidated building, or I guess it's like 3 buildings, or 4, in Wilmington, Delaware, which was scheduled for being demolished until he purchased them for apparently what we hear is $400,000. And now the big news is he's about to lose those buildings as the city is going to take possession of those buildings because he owes $40,000 for payments for things like the water service, the electricity, and it goes on. This man did not pay what he owed to keep the school running. He didn't pay the taxes, water bill. He paid nothing. Till finally, it all accumulated to $40,000, and the city said, that's enough. We're going to take possession of this property. And the city sent him notices. All right, I want to show you this. This is the notice that was placed on one of the buildings that Umar owns for FDMG. There were two notices. One, I guess, was placed in the front, and the other in back. And some of you have seen this. When you're about to be evicted, they post a notice like this on your door to let you know that eviction proceedings have begun. So this shouldn't be anything shocking or new to Umar because he's ignored the bills. And the truth of the matter is, he shouldn't be responsible for this, because if you're really building a school, then you would have accountants that will be taking care of this for you, and all bills and motions should be going directly to your accountant. But since he's running a scam, and he's operating this by himself, he's not going to see some of these notices because he's never at FDMG or those dilapidated buildings. He's traveling the world doing lectures to take money and not really build anything. How are you going to build a school, which is a monumental task, and you're never there? You're always flying around doing lectures. That's ridiculous. But anyway, I'm just going to read this to you as best I can. It's hard to read. It's a bit blurry, but let's go into this. It says, the motion, take warning to all persons having or claiming to have any title, interest, or lien upon the within described premises, take warning that unless the judgment for the taxes or assessments stated, I think it says herein, is paid within 20 days after the date hereof, or within such period of 20 days, evidence of the payment of the taxes or assessments herein claimed shall be filed in the office of the pro honoraire, I'm not really sure what that word is, which evidence shall be in the form of a received bill or duplicate thereof, bearing date prior to the filing of the lien in the office of the pro honoraire. Again, I don't know that word. For Newcastle County, the city of Wilmington may proceed to sell the property herein mentioned or described for the purpose of collecting the judgment for the taxes or assessments herein stated. And as you see, it says the property address, and tax parcel number and water and sewer account number, person in whose name the subject property is assessed, Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey, RGB International Leadership Academy. That's the school. So the taxes, water, and sewage charges as of December 19th, 2016, they're going back to December 30th, 2024 through May 28th, I believe that says 2025. Exterior improvements, 2021. Vacant registration fee to 2020 to 2025. Civil penalties, years 2020. Amount of judgment, taxes, 0. Water and sewer charges, $1,854.17. Exterior improvement charges, $156.60. Vacant registration fee, $15,500. Civil penalty charges, $300, plus interest and penalties, title search costs, There's that word again, I don't know. Fees and sheriff's costs and fees. Principal amount as of clocked in date total $17,810.77. So this is part of what he owes, and I believe that the accurate calculation with everything is going up to $40,000. So Umar has not been paying his bills, and he's been getting these notices and ignoring these notices to run this scam. I mean, he never really was going to open a school. He just bought those dilapidated buildings to run his con game year after year after year. And he did it for over a decade, and he took in $1.6 million. So that's amazing. That's amazing. As I mentioned before, there are some other paperwork that I don't have privy to, like the vacant property fees and everything else, that accumulates to the total of 40,000. Again, this is only 17,000. But I wanted to at least show you this so that you know that they are serious about taking away the buildings. Come August 25th, if he doesn't come up with the 40,000, he's in serious trouble. And yet he ignored those notices and now put a video out talking about his bank accounts are frozen, so he doesn't have access to money. And he was begging for you to send him money because the bank said that someone was trying to hack into his accounts. So the banks froze his accounts and did an investigation and still hasn't unfrozen the accounts, is what he says. Specifically, he says, oh, well, one day, a friend of mine came to me and he asked me to lend him a couple of bucks. So when I checked my bank account to lend him some money, I found that I couldn't access it. And I was told by the banks that they were frozen because of possible fraud. Not on my part. And now he's upset because he said the city put notices on the door of the schools, 2 notices, one in front, one in back, stating that because he owed this amount, this back due amount, that they were going to take possession of the buildings, the dilapidated buildings, and auction them off because of his mismanagement. Again, this man has no accountants, no lawyers, because, you see, he says he has a personal account and an FDMG account. Well, the FDMG account should be handled by your accountant. And your accountant should be receiving these notices from the city. And the accountant should notify you of delinquent payments. But Umar is such a con artist and is good with the talk. He comes to us now telling us that he never received any notification from the city in regards to these bills. That it is racism because now the city knows that he wants to open up a black school, so the city is now conspiring to sell off these buildings so he can't open up a black school.
FDMG Academy bank accounts are still frozen. Dr. Umar personal bank account is still frozen. Brothers and sisters, we are fighting this war against FDMG and Dr. Umar Tunde. We were supposed to get a refund within 4 days of our accounts being shut down. We were supposed to get a refund within 4 days of our accounts being shut down. We still haven't got our refund. We still haven't got our refund. We still haven't got our refund. So, not only are the accounts frozen, make sure y'all hit my Venmo, and my PayPal. PayPal.me/Umar the Psychologist. PayPal.me/Umar the Psychologist, or tap my Venmo. Text me for the links to donate to FDMG. Text me for the links to support Dr. Umar. 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. On August the 5th, brothers and sisters, on August the 5th, the city of Wilmington, Delaware, took out a notice to auction off the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy campus for unpaid vacant property registration fees. I repeat, on August the 5th, the city of Wilmington, Delaware, took out a lien to auction off the campus we bought, the campus we've been working on for 6.5 years. I was not notified of this. We were not notified of this. This past weekend, without an email, this past weekend, without a letter in the mail, this past weekend, without a phone call, the city of Wilmington put a notice on the door handle of both of our schools, informing me that if we don't pay the past due vacant property registration fees and outstanding utilities by the 25th of Black August, they will sell our campus. Brothers and sisters, can I ask you a question? Why were we not notified that they were going to try to sell our campus? Brothers and sisters, why are they trying to sell our campus at the very moment that our accounts are frozen? Brothers and sisters, is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that the city of Wilmington is trying to sell properties that we own and have been working on continuously behind our backs? They were going to sell our schools behind our backs. They didn't even tell us that they were going to try to sell our schools. We received no notice in the mail. We received no notice by email. We received no phone calls at all that they were going to try to sell our schools. Instead, they put a notice on the door handle. Somebody stole one set of notifications and sent it to the YouTubian struggle streamers. Somebody stole the Frederick Douglass High School paperwork off the front door and sent it to the struggle streamers. But luckily for us, Sister Ra Ebony was able to get the paperwork off the Marcus Garvey School before the haters stole that paperwork. I believe, brothers and sisters, and please let me know your opinion. I believe, brothers and sisters, and please let me know your opinion. I believe, brothers and sisters, and please let me know your opinion. I believe that they were going to sell the school, and they wanted to sell the school before we found out. I believe that they wanted to sell the school before we found out. We were not supposed to know that they were going to sell our school. Why do I say that? We were given no notification. We received no letter in the mail. We received no email. We received no phone call that they were going to try to sell our schools. Instead, they put a notice on the door. In a low-income neighborhood, they put a notice on the door with rubber band and masking tape. They put a notice on the school front door with a rubber band and masking tape. Brothers and sisters, it gets worse. Back in April, when I found out about the overdue vacant property registration fees, I had asked the city of Wilmington if they could retroactively apply our nonprofit waiver. According to the nonprofit waiver for the city of Wilmington, if you are a nonprofit organization, they will waive your vacant property registration fees for 4 years. If you are a nonprofit organization in the city of Wilmington, they will waive your nonprofit vacant property registration fees for 4 years. If they would have applied our nonprofit vacant property registration waiver, we would owe absolutely nothing. We would owe absolutely nothing. We would owe absolutely nothing. But I asked them, and they ignored my emails for 4 months. They ignored my phone calls for 4 months. They ignored our emails for 4 months. They ignored our phone calls for 4 months. And instead, the first time I hear from them since April, the first time I hear from them since contacting them April, asking them to apply our vacant property registration fee waiver to the past 4 years so we would owe absolutely nothing, they ignored me since April. They ignored me since April. No phone call, no email, nothing in the postal mail since April. And the first thing we find out, the first time we hear from them since April, is a letter on the front door of the school, affixed with a rubber band and masking tape. A rubber band and masking tape. Brothers and sisters, giving us 20 days to pay these back taxes. We already paid $30,000 for water that we don't even use. We just paid $30,000 to the city of Wilmington for water that we don't even use. And now we got to pay another $30,000 for vacant property registration fees that we shouldn't even owe because we should have a waiver. We should have a waiver. We should have a waiver. And it gets worse, brothers and sisters. It gets worse because they are raising the vacant property registration fee. They are raising the vacant property registration fee this fall from $5,000 a year to $12,000 a year. I'm going to say it again. They are raising the vacant property registration fee this fall from $5,000 a year to $12,000 a year. Brothers and sisters, I want y'all to get ready for a protest. I want all FDMG donors and supporters to get ready for a protest. We may have to march on City Hall, brothers and sisters. We may have to march on City Hall because of the racism. I'm going to call it what it is, racism. Discriminatory treatment. Why did we get no notification that y'all were going to sell our schools? Why did you not respond to any of our emails to retroactively apply our vacant property registration fee waiver? I knew they...
Okay, now that you've heard that diatribe from Umar, which was just filled with a bunch of lies, here's a statement issued by the city of Delaware by Daniel Walker, Deputy Chief of Staff. Now, this is the actual, the Deputy Chief of Staff replying to Umar's yelling or going off at the mouth about racism and how he never received any past notices. So I want you to look at Mr. Walker's statement and go back here and let's go into this. Unfortunately, the statement made by Dr. Umar are simply untrue and inaccurate. The city of Wilmington has issued numerous communications concerning the two properties, and the communication from the property owner has been infrequent and scarce. Our goal is simple: to ensure the properties come into compliance with existing regulations. This is true of our approach to every property in Wilmington and ensures our buildings are safe and constructed adequately. We have a process to follow, and the motion notice he received is another step in the process. We invite Dr. Umar, along with every property owner, to communicate with our offices and determine the appropriate next steps for any property that enters the phase of enforcement. Even this week, our office has contacted Dr. Umar, inviting him again to comply with our regulations and speak with our delinquent accounts team and the Department of License and Inspections to determine a path forward. So, this is evidence that not only did Umar receive notices in the past about the bills that he owes and how he wasn't making his payments, but how just recently they reached out to Umar to discuss ways that he can pay this off so that he can come into compliance. This is ridiculous, the lies that Umar tells. And now he wants people to do some type of protest. A protest for what? For not paying your bills? You know, a protest for them not notifying you, which was a complete lie. They did. So this man has been getting away with murder for over a decade. The black community has supported him. So I hold the black community accountable as well, because we should never have allowed someone like this to get this far. And just lies on top of lies on top of lies. So he's making himself look bad. He needs to come up with the 40,000, pay that amount, and then try and keep his scam going. All right. Let me explain something to you. And I'm going to talk to the black community here. There are a number of black schools for boys. What Umar is trying to do is nothing unique. If you did your research, you would have found that in many cities across the country, there are black schools run by black people for black boys already established. So there's nothing revolutionary about what Umar is doing. And people come along, the black community comes along and say, well, we like what he says. We've never heard that talk before. We believe he's a true revolutionary. And this is where the black community failed. Let me take you back to the late 80s and early 90s. This was at the height of what they call the Afrocentric movement. And it was spearheaded by men like Dr. Ben Jamaikanen and Dr. John and Henry Clark, who held lectures and classes through what they call the First World Alliance on black history, on Kemet. And instead of the black community en masse attending these classes and learning what these brilliant scholars had to say, we dropped the ball. We didn't support them. So Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark died penniless. I believe Dr. Ben didn't even have enough money for his own funeral. The members of the community had to pay for his funeral. You see, the rhetoric and the so-called stuff that you think is good, that you hear from Umar Johnson, was really established by Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark. So Umar is just regurgitating that information. And if you go back and you study Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark, you will see the origins of what Umar Johnson is speaking of. So he's not coming to you with anything new. Now, as I said, the late 80s and early 90s were the height of the Afrocentric movement. And you see the U.S. government, and here's where I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but this is factual. The U.S. government came in and said, we got to kill this Afrocentric movement. So while there was a movement to teach it in schools and colleges, that movement was destroyed due to feminists. So feminism, supported by the U.S. government and funded by the U.S. government, came into the picture and marginalized the Afrocentric movement. And in many cases, suppressed it. So what you had is, in colleges, instead of African history or black studies, you had the funding and support of the feminist movement. And more importantly, it was a very, very, how shall I say it, a very extreme version of feminism. And some people call it the fourth wave of feminism, where it was a lot based on male hatred, specifically black male hatred. And from that, you had the suppression of the African history and knowledge, to where now, fast forward to present day, no one knows who Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark are or were. No one knows about their teachings of Akabulan, which we now call Africa. And because Umar tuned into that, and in many believe that he's an agent provocateur, because he tuned into that and went out on this campaign to proselytize it, people decided to back him. See, in the black community, we're wooed by emotions. So he comes along and he's the type of church speaker, hyperbolic, emotional, animated. And because he stirs these emotions, especially in women who are primarily right-brained, no one's there to stop and check him and say, hey, let's do a little left-brain thinking here. Let's investigate his background. Let's look at his business plan before we go throwing money at him. No one said that. So there was this big movement to just give him money without business plan, without him having lawyers or accountants, without him having contractors, without him having, project managers. This man could not even show you a cash flow projection or a schedule. Broken into different phases. In phase 1, this is what we'll be doing here. Phase 2, we're going to be doing this. He had nothing, nada. As I said, not even a website, not even a curriculum. And you stupid people gave this money, gave him your money, 1.6 million. And if you look at him, and I know because I've dealt with some of these people, you can see he's high. So your money was spent on this man who went and used and bought hookers, that's factual, and drugs. Drug of choice, cocaine. That's where the money went. And it's a long con. Because in him purchasing those buildings, he was able to keep this con going. Oh, hey, this week we're going to buy new doors for the buildings. Next week we're going to paint the outside. And then we're going to have a block party. And you just kept throwing money and money and money after him, thinking he was using that money for the school when he was misappropriating those funds and using it for his own, let's just say, creative endeavors. You basically funded a drug addict. He has substance abuse issues. It's clear to see that when he does some of his videos. But again, the black community, they just move by emotion. No logic. No thought process. And it's disgusting what you have done. In the face of the fact that there are legitimate brothers and sisters out there who are trying to get businesses started off the ground that would help the community. But because they don't have someone running around talking about delete the white man, with what he says is appalling. Talks about abusing children and his, no snow bunnies when he talks about, and he caters to black women. Talking about no snow bunnies, that brothers shouldn't date white girls. But he doesn't say anything about sisters dating white men. He doesn't bring that up because he's trying to tap into the emotions of black women, to get them on his side so he could sleep with them and get money from them. This man has done videos where he's checking out women's rear end in the video, checking out their booties. Talks about the women he slept with. And the women that he slept with are coming out of the woodworks and now are confessing and telling their stories. This man is a predator, going after women. There's a sister who made a video, a film about Umar Johnson. And in the making of the film, she talks about how he was hitting on all the women, trying to get them to come back to his hotel. And then he tried to sue her so she wouldn't release the film. She talked about that she donated $2,000 to his cause. But that's when I pause and I say, well, why would you, again, donate to someone based on the rhetoric that he's talking and not based on his real credentials and whether or not his business plan was solid? I give her credit for wanting to help the community, the black community. But sometimes you just got to stop and then go, where are we with common sense? That we allow, especially in the Pan-African community, because Umar Johnson says he's a Pan-African, like Marcus Garvey. So where are we with our Pan-African brothers and sisters who are checking him? Did anyone in the Pan-African community stop to check his credentials and check his business plan, check his curriculum, check to see what teachers he's hired? How far along is he in the renovations for the school? No one checked on anything. They just continually gave him money every time he did a lecture. No questions asked. Here's my money. And then now he makes a fool out of everyone because he's in danger of losing those dilapidated buildings he calls a school, FDMG. Because on the 25th of August, the city is going to seize possession of those buildings and auction them off because he has not paid for services rendered in the tune of $40,000. So now he's going to come to you, the black community, and ask for $40,000 to save the school or dilapidated buildings. But then the question should arise, well, if you have to beg to get 40,000 to keep that school afloat, where are your operating costs going to come from? And still, the renovation costs, because the school is not fully renovated, the operation cost alone should tell you this man is running a scam. It takes millions of dollars a year. Let me say it again. Millions of dollars a year to operate a school. And you cannot get that type of funding from donations. So where is he going to get the money? All right, so he pays off the 40,000. He still has a bunch of other expenses. And the city still has to inspect the school before they give him a certificate of occupancy. There's all types of inspections that have to be done. All type of filings that have to be done. And this man he has demonstrated that he does not have a crew, that he's just a one-man army. He's doing it all himself. He doesn't have a board. I mean, there's so many bells that are going off to tell you scam, scam, but people are still booking him for speaking engagements, bringing them on their shows, and not asking the right question. And you know what? We've got to hold the Breakfast Club accountable, and especially Charmaine, what is it? Something Charmaine the God or whatever. Because he's been on the Breakfast Club a number of times. And each time he's been on the show, he's gotten a lot of donations. But Charlemagne has never done research into the school. And I bet you Charlemagne has not even donated to the school. You see, this tells us something important, that in the black community, there are those that don't have our best interest at heart. The Breakfast Club and many of these organizations that are booking these speaking engagements with Dr. Umar Johnson are part of a conspiracy to destroy the black community. Let me say that again. They are part of a conspiracy to destroy the black community. Because when you have someone who's obviously a grifter like Dr. Umar come into the black community and siphon out all of this money from the poor and impoverished, and is given the support and given platforms like the Breakfast Club, well, you got to say to yourself, there's something going on here bigger than what we originally suspected. But there may be forces out there that want to do a sin. And they are connected to some powerful media outlets. We have to be careful here. We have to be careful of these individuals that come along and give us a good song and dance and move us emotionally. Because just someone has the gift of gab, they're good orators, doesn't mean they're good people. Doesn't mean they're good at executing the plan they put forth. Doesn't mean they're going to do right by you. And as a community, it is incumbent upon us to do our research, especially the elders, because they didn't initially speak out. They should have said something about Umar. But not a word. And only now that it's clear as day that he's a scammer is everybody coming out the woodworks to speak out against him. Can you believe this? This man has got women coming out of the woodworks to confess they slept with him and telling their stories. This man's daughter, who is ghetto and has a foul mouth, has been doing YouTube videos talking about what a scumbag Umar is. Individuals who have done business with him and been screwed over have been telling their stories too. And in spite of all that, people are still supporting him. It's amazing. People are still supporting him. And because the black community has not done their homework, you miss the fact that individuals like Q Butter, like King Randall, already have an operating school for black boys and black girls who are in need of funding to keep the schools going every year. But no one is giving them money, giving them support. They have not raised $1.6 million. When I was in priesthood, our temple had a school for black boys and black girls. All black school. And it was accredited. I want you to think about that. Because if you were to go to Umar Johnson's school, hypothetically, because I don't believe that the school would ever open, but if you were to go to that school, it wouldn't be accredited. He's already said this. So your child will go to that school and there will be no accreditation. So why would you send him there? Why would it be worth sending him or her there? They wouldn't be able to get a job. But no one asked these important questions. These things never came up. It was just throw money at him, throw money at him. And now, on the eve of him, I'm looking at the calendar, losing his schools on the 25th. He may lose it, but I'll tell you this. I actually think there are some stupid people out there that will give him the 40,000. Because as a people, we're hard-headed as hell. We don't get it. This is why you're, what's the name of the guy who did the real estate? Jay Morrison was able to raise $12 million from black people. He has a criminal past, criminal background. People he worked with said that they swindled them out of money. And he filed for bankruptcy the very year he was looking to finance his real estate plan. He personally filed for bankruptcy. So in lieu of all that, people still gave him money. And he promised that he would build what he called was Black Wall Street. And what happened? He came out and said he lost all the money. Not really, because he put it in his pocket. And according to the contract and his creative accounting, He says the money is gone in his pocket. But everybody just invested in a guy with a criminal record who filed bankruptcy, who never had any real estate experience. That's a fact. Who was fired from his real estate company that he worked for, who filed bankruptcy, but everybody in the black community gave money. $12 million. And they lost. Everyone who supported him lost their money, including the genius who really put him out there, Boyce Watkins, the idiot. So take a good look at yourselves. I'm talking about those who have supported these individuals. Because we have some real problems in the black community. We do. Some real problems. And I really didn't want to make this video to focus on him. But as soon as I heard he was on the verge of losing these buildings, I said, well, let's see what happens. Let me make a video and let people know. And I hope to hell that none of my subscribers have donated money to him. I want to thank you for tuning in. If this message resonates with you, please donate to my channel. The money will be used properly. This is Qesankh Ma Keperu, son of Ma and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.